I know that many of you actually have this question in mind. You all know that the term mining is involved. But in this lesson, I will talk about basic dynamics and basic information. Without getting into too much detail, guys. As I explained in the first lecture, it has no relation with a central bank or an official institution in the background. It is not monetized from the mint like banknotes. Production of the Bitcoin is called mining. At the same time, the logic in the name mining is due to the connection between gold mining. That being said, because of the connection between the deposit process and the gold mining, extracting Bitcoin, that is, obtaining some Bitcoin by mining, is not the only task of mining. So, this is not the only purpose of the miner. Let me tell you right away. Everyone thinks that this is the only task of mining. However, mining includes tasks such as performing the transfer process, using the calculation authority, protecting the system area securely, synchronizing any user in the system, and fixing it if there is an error. In fact, all of these things are called mining, guys. The system cannot be controlled from a single center. So, today there are miners in China, America, Turkey, Singapore, Germany, or anywhere in Europe. Therefore, its center is scattered, there is no single center. And miners earn a reward for these transactions, which is Bitcoin. Those who do this work are called miners. In the simplest definition, we can say that Bitcoin was produced this way, guys. Now, we're going to get into the blockchain a little bit. Of course, the blockchain will have a separate lesson. I am trying to explain these basic lessons in a very simple way, so that you can understand better the basics of these, in order to change your perspective more easily in the following lessons. I hope you are not bored, guys. And I hope I am not explaining in a way that will bore you. Now let's get into the number of Bitcoins. Satoshi Nakamoto actually limited Bitcoin production to 21 million in total. In other words, the number of Bitcoins that will be produced in the world today is certain. 21 million Bitcoins will be produced. Bitcoin production is limited in supply due to the blockchain system. It's getting harder day by day. In addition, there is a situation where production decreases every 4 years. These periods are called halvings. Halving means decrease in the block reward. Let me give a simple example. The initial block reward was 25 Bitcoins in 2012. It has dropped to 12.5 Bitcoins in 2016. And to 6.25 Bitcoins on May 11, 2020. Which was just after COVID. And I am pretty sure some of you remember that from last year. There is even a saying that Bitcoin is rising up after halving. Everyone is entering the market in these halving days. With these perceptions, Bitcoin has already gone up. This is the reduction of the production of Bitcoin, which happens every 10 minutes, by half in certain periods. The block reward decrease is called halving. I would like to remind you that the repetition of the reward halving, 210,000 blocks, is approximately every 4 years. The last time was in May 2020. Now, some of you have thought of being a miner. But I'm sorry to say that you are late, guys. I think you don't need to get into this job at all. Because now very large systems and so many people involved in this. There are things called cloud mining. I will explain them too. They are mining with the latest technology computers. They are just made of only GPU and CPU. Another opportunity for you is, maybe you thought about it in this part. In the years when Bitcoin production increased, especially in the years when this demand and mining popularity increased so much, especially these semiconductor chip manufacturers, GPU and CPU manufacturers, which computer builders know these companies very well, made incredible profits on their balance sheets. In other words, you can invest your money in Bitcoin and increase it 5 or 10 times maybe. in a certain period. But these 4 companies I have shown. There are a few others. Do make great profits in the periods I mentioned. For example, when the Bitcoin market is bearish, Nvidia's, Intel's, Qualcomm's and Micron's shares may be preferred, guys. Because these are the companies that produce the graphics cards and CPUs we are talking about. And let's get to the halving dates. I mentioned briefly before, in the starting block, which was on January 3, 2009, the initial block reward was 50 Bitcoin. Let me elaborate on this reward. It was produced by Satoshi Nakamoto as non-expendable and non-transferable. Isn't it very interesting? So, these 50 Bitcoins are still there. No one knows what will happen. But I can say very clearly that they cannot be spent. Because the system was designed that way. And this Bitcoin block reward continues in the form of halving. The reward given to cryptocurrency miners for each successfully processed block in the blockchain. As you can see, there is a halving every 4 years. Actually, this graph is a bit old. Because we have already experienced the halving. It needs to go as 2024-2028-2032. Well, the following question may have come to your mind right away. What is the deadline for Bitcoin to be produced? Due to the fact that the production is halved every 4 years? The answer is 2140, guys. The year which reward will end. The year that Bitcoin production will end, seems to be 2140. After the production of the last Bitcoin is completed. After it is finished. All Bitcoin will be fully mined in 2140. In this lesson, I wanted to give you brief information about halving and Bitcoin mining. If you want to mine Bitcoin, you're a little late. I will inform you about different mining options in the following lessons. Because I think these courses will open new doors for you. Maybe after you take this course you will decide to be a miner of Bitcoin. Not an investor, who knows? I think it would be useful to be at least introduction.